With Grandmaster Nightfalls dropping this week, and Nightfall just on the horizon, you might find yourself wondering, should I hop in to grind out the Nightfall weapons, especially now that Bungie has lowered the power requirement to enter GM Nightfalls? Well, we have you covered. We're going to be ranking all Nightfall weapons in Season of the Seraph, or Season 19, right here. So without further ado, my name is Sky Knight, and welcome to BlueberriesGG. Coming in 6th this season as a weapon that I do not think you should spend time farming for is the DFA Hand Cannon. The DFA drops from the Glassway Nightfall. This Nightfall is definitely the hardest one to do this season, as the boss room is about as hard as having fun in PvP this season. It really hurts ranking this gun so low because I personally love it, but at the end of the day, it just has too much competition. It has to contend with the likes of Fatebringer, Ice Luna, Austringer, and Rhodes, and that's not even considering exotics or other options in the energy slot. It's not even the best hand cannon that's actually come out of Nightfalls, as Palindrome holds that title, let alone the best hand cannon in the game, so there's absolutely no reason you should even spend your time grinding for it. But if you want to just ignore me and ignore my warnings, for PvP, I would go for high range, so you want Hammerforged Rifling and Accurized rounds, and for your perks, I'm probably looking at Perpetual Motion with Opening Shot or Time Payload for some better dueling potential. Landing in 5th place is the Mindbenders Ambition. This shotgun drops from the Insight Terminus Nightfall. Thankfully, this Nightfall isn't too bad, however the gun is a different story. It is a complete disappointment and a shadow of its former self. The only reason you may want to go for this gun is due to its ability to roll with 1-2 punch. It can't compete with other solid shotguns in the game right now, like Found Verdict or Retold Tale, and also massively falls short in PvE due to aggressive frame pellet shotguns being very far from meta. I can't stress enough how much 1-2 punch carries this weapon. However, it doesn't really matter, because there's tons of other shotguns that can come with 1-2 punch, so unless you're just unwilling to farm the others, or you have a weird love for Mindbenders, I would just skip it. If you do want a solid roll though, I would probably look for Auto-Loading Holster or Lead from Gold with 1-2 punch, with Assault Mag for your magazine for better DPS. Coming in 4th is the Wendigo GL3. This grenade launcher drops from the Warden of Nothing Nightfall, which is an okay Nightfall to farm. Wendigo's in a bit of a limbo state right now. Bungie have stated that they're looking to nerf linear fusions and to shake up the DPS meta come Lightfall, so we may see grenade launchers receive some hefty buffs, meaning that Wendigo would shoot up the rankings. However, heavy ammo grenade launchers are simply just so bad right now, I can't morally rank it higher than 4th. It's not good. And the only GL as of right now that is probably worth having a mediocre roll for is probably Typhon, but even then you can definitely skip on that, because it's a heavy grenade launcher, they all suck. Do pay attention to the changes Bungie decides to make though to the DPS meta in Lightfall, because you may see a return to form for this OG grenade launcher, so make sure to just take this ranking with a grain of salt, because it may change fast. In terms of perks, you're going to want Volatile Launch or Quick Launch. Spike grenades are an absolute must though, and honestly, I would probably just dismantle a roll that doesn't have spike grenades. Auto-Loading Holster and Explosive Light are going to be the best perks. You can go for Cascade Point in the 2nd perk slot, however it's a bit too niche for my liking, and in most situations, Explosive Light will just be the better pick. You can also go for Clown Cartridge instead of Auto-Loading Holster, as that isn't too bad either. In 3rd place, we have Horror's Least. This Arc Pulse Rifle drops from the Scarlet Keep Nightfall, which is one of the harder Nightfalls this season, but isn't too bad to complete, especially because you can just cheese the boss room. Horror's Least is a really solid PvP option, however it's outclassed and outranged by other pulses and other long-range options like Dead Man's Tale. In terms of mid-range dueling though, it can be near unmatched. It isn't overly difficult to use, and can come with some super solid perks like Kill Clip, Perpetual Motion and Frenzy, which are all good in 6v6 game modes. However, this is probably the only place it will see use, as I don't really recommend it in endgame PvP playlists, as you'll simply just be outdueled by better weapons, like No Time to Explain. For rolls on this weapon, I'm looking for high range just to try contend at least somewhat, so Hammerforged Rifling or Small Bore are probably going to be the best picks. Next, Accurized Rounds is the absolute go-to in the magazine slot, And finally, Perpetual Motion and Kill Clip would be the role I'd shoot for, however controller players can instead opt for Zen Moment instead of Perpetual Motion. Coming in second for me is going to be the Malicious Birthright. This weapon drops from the Corrupted Nightfall, which you might hear and go, oh no, I'm never going to get this gun. But don't worry, because Corrupted was changed a few seasons ago, and it's honestly pretty easy nowadays. Malicious Birthright is a decent pick. You can't really go wrong with a grenade launcher these days, and with double special loadouts being a very solid pick for higher end content, it makes Malicious quite the solid option. However, it's quite outclassed by other weapons like Ignition Code or Pardon Our Dust. And if you're wanting to run a double special ammo loadout, Malicious Birthright isn't the way I'd really go, especially when it shares a slot with amazing options like Riptide, Heritage, Burden of Guilt, Witherhoard, and Izanagi's Burden. Overall though, it's a pretty solid pick and you can't really go too far wrong with it. For rolls, Quick Launch or Volatile Launch is good. And for your magazine, Spike Grenades or Blinding Grenades are going to be the play, it just depends on what your team needs. And finally, for your perks, I'm probably looking for Lead from Gold or Auto-Loading Holster, however Frenzy with Slideways isn't too bad either. Finally, snagging top spot on our list is going to be Hung Jury. Hung Jury drops from Birthplace of the Vile. Birthplace might be slightly longer than some other Nightfalls, but it's pretty easy, with the hardest room being like right at the start with all the screams and the plate. So if you do end up wiping in that room, you really don't have to go that far to get back to where you were. Hung Jury is a solid contender in all pieces of content. With perks like Frenzy, Explosive Rounds, and Rapid Hit, it can be hard to go wrong with. However, it is somewhat outclassed by options like Night Watch or Tarnished Metal, as they are both part of a better archetype, or come with better perks like Bolt Shot. This being said though, Hung Jury isn't exactly something to sleep on. It can put in some serious work, and for the average player in endgame content, a Scout Rifle's ease of use will make your time much more enjoyable. On Hung Jury, you don't really have to care about your barrel or magazine too much, which is another bonus of this weapon. But decent handling and range are always quite nice, so options like Corkscrew Rifling with Accurized rounds sounds good to me. For your perks, Rapid Hit in slot 1 is the clear choice to me, but Subsistence isn't too bad of an alternative. And in slot 2, Frenzy or Explosive Rounds are both excellent choices, and you probably won't really go wrong with either of them. Unfortunately this season, there just aren't really any must-haves like previous seasons from Nightfalls. The options here are simply just bad, like DFA or Mindbenders, highly dependent on balance changes, like Wendigo, or somewhat outclassed by other weapons, like Horror's Least, Malicious Birthright, and Hung Jury. That being said though, if you are looking for something to do in Destiny, grinding out a decent roll of these weapons it's not going to do any harm. As you never know, maybe Mindbenders Ambition will be like the next burst DPS weapon in Nightfall. Make sure to subscribe with notifications on so that you never miss our videos. Do you agree with our rankings? Let us know your list down in the comments below. We're also aiming to branch out and cover more topics on the road up to Nightfall, so if you have anything you would like to know, or want us to cover something in particular, please let us know down in the comments. But as always, thank you for watching, and have a great day.